From Burner Middle School, it is a rematch of last year's county championship game as the Vikings have made the trip from Port Washington to take on the Chiefs of Massapequa. Nassau Class A boys lacrosse under those lights here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Today's game is sponsored by J&R Landscaping. Dylan Butler, Brian Soper here with you. And we are back here. We've done so many kind of regional games and these national games. And now to your meat and potatoes, right? Nassau Class A rivalry game under the lights here at Burner. Port, Pequa, two teams that have contrasting strengths, right? Port on the defensive side, Pequa with their offense. So they're going to clash. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, nothing like Class A lacrosse. You know, this is a preseason 1 and 2 coming into the year. And you talk about a rivalry. Last 6 meetings, right? 3-3, Port and Massapequa. And talk about 3 one-goal games, one of them in overtime. You got 2 two-goal games, right? And only 1 3-goal game. So it's always a close one. What a great atmosphere it's going to be tonight under the lights, Class A lacrosse, as we start thinking playoffs and seeding and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for Port Washington, it's an unenviable situation for some of these players because it's the 3rd different coaching staff in 3 different years, right? You never want to have that, but the positive of that side of the coin is that Dan Gill, their head coach, he was part of the staff last year, and he said, I don't want to change a lot from last year, so he wanted to keep as much continuity going for his guys this year, and it has been a little bit of a change, certainly, but listen, it is a team that has the parts. When you think of the big dogs in Class A this year, right, certainly Pequa, Farmingdale, Syosset, but you put Port right there. Those top 4 are really, really good.
The last 2 years really kind of rose. They had young guys. 2024, only 4 wins for this team against elite competition. They were young. They kind of took their lumps. And this is a team that has experience. It has a lot of gritty, tough guys in the middle of the field. They got a great goalie. They got 2 face-off guys. And they got some attackmen who could fill up the net.
Yeah, they come into this game 7-2, which included this past week back-to-back defeats and 2 losses, too, where they struggled to score. They scored 3 goals between those 2 losses to Cold Spring Harbor and to Manhasset. They did bounce back in a big way, though, in a non-league game against Fordham Prep. So 2 guys, so they're going to look to here today to get things going on both sides of the ball. On the offensive side, everything kind of starts with Harry Einen, and then Gavin Neville, certainly a lockdown defender on the other side.
Einen, a junior, 31 goals this year, 43 goals as a sophomore, all-county last year. B-Lax has 99 career points, 1 more to get to 100, right? He scores them. His fraternal twin brother, Max, saves them. And Gavin Neville, junior, committed to UMass, ground ball machine. He's vocal. Dylan, this defense has only given up 5.3 goals per game, gave up 5 last year, and Neville is a huge part of that, down low and scooping up GBs.
So that's the story with Port Washington. We take a look at the hosts, the Chiefs from Massapequa. They too are 7-2 on the year. But you mentioned the goals against for Port. Well, how about the goals for Massapequa? 16.1 per game. We knew kind of coming in this was an offense. You return a Division I starting attack line. You've got a host of college commits all over the place. And so many of those guys, what a great experience they had last year, winning the 12th County Championship, getting a Anthony Rayo-led Hills team, bringing them right to the brink, a 1-goal loss in that one. So many of those guys are back for this year's team that has raised expectations as a result.
31 returners of the goals that they have, 145, 117 still come from underclassmen. That's crazy. This is still a young team. 70% of those goals are assisted, and that's scary if you're a defensive coordinator.
2 guys that Massapequa will lean on today. Hey, you mentioned UMass. UMass is in town to take on Penn. So we go UMass versus UMass. Neville and Burns. And on the defensive side, it is Brady Gilchrist, a senior, part of a really solid defensive group that in its own right is only allowing a little more than 8 goals a game.
Tyler Burns, 4-year varsity, 3-sport athlete, all-county, heading to UMass. We're going to see Jack Tarowski, Aiden Drussick tomorrow, 6'3", 6'2". You add 6'4" Burns to that mix, 81 career goals. His younger brother Jake is on the team, also a stud. And then Brady Gilchrist, 3-year starter, 6'1", captain, reliable, heading to Muhlenberg. Younger brother Casey is 99, a 5-star pole. The Gilchrist need to lock it down for the Chiefs.
So let's get our starting lineups for today's game. First, for the visitors from Port Washington. Good to see Owen Lang back in there. He has been injured this year, banged up, unable to play. Jumps in, the lefty Dodger on that attack line that features Einen and Ty Noga. Your first midfield of Gannon, Buckley, and Meyer. At LSM, it'll be Tony Forgione, and then your close D, Thomas Panulo, Oren Shishoa, who was excellent last year, and then, of course, joining them, as we said, Gavin Neville, and the guy who feels like he is in his 12th year in the cage for Port Washington, it's Max Einen.
Max Einen, 5-star, his 4th year starting, 2-time All-County, heading to Ohio State. The recruiting trip when big tasty Caleb Fyock was too much to turn down. 70% this year, 69% last year. There's just an aura around really great goaltenders. There's an aura around Max Einen. He's the backbone of this defense. Look for highlight saves. Looking to be the first All-American goalie at Port since Pat Doyle in 1982.
And the head coach of Port, mentioned before, there he is, Dan Gill. Back in town, back at his alma mater, Massapequa 07 grad. He's also the DC, a guy who ran the box last year for this Port Washington team. And he's got an almost exclusive Massapequa staff as well. How about Garrett Gibbons and Logan Tucker co-working the offense? Brian Harinsky's working the box. All those guys played on that Massapequa 2019 state championship team. Let's not forget, though, the one Port guy who is part of that coaching staff. It's Stephen Betch, who works with the face-off guys. So now the starting lineup for Massapequa. A little bit of a late change to that because we've seen all year long it's been Spalina, Burns, and Wieserak. Wieserak right now running out of the second midfield today. So joining Burns and Spalina, Sean Durnan. Like it feels like every other Durnan boy heading to Adelphi. You've got Tucker, Milio, and the younger Burns. Jake Burns, you mentioned Casey Gilchrist at LSM, and listen, they get so many plaudits for their offense, but how about this defense, man? Led by Justin Farrell, bound for Michigan. You've got Ippolito and Gilchrist. And in the cage for Massapequa, Peter Konstantinakos, the first-year senior starter.
Lefty, senior, multi-sport athlete, football, wrestling, lax, also a percussionist and a scholar athlete. It just shows you that hard work pays off. Some great lineage for goaltenders in Massapequa, from the Schneider brothers to the Sinar brothers. The lefty's got to stand tall today. 11 saves versus Garden City. Really starting to get used to the varsity level, and expect for him to have a good game today. Going to need to if the Chiefs going to pull off a victory.
And one thing for him as well, as you see the head coach for Massapequa in his second season, it is Kevin Catalano, the 2009 graduate of MacArthur. Played his college ball at Malloy. Previously was the JV head coach here for 9 years. His assistant coaches got Christian Lyons, he's the DC. Thomas Greenblatt working with him on the offense. Frank Bakakos with the goalies. Anthony Parisi works with the face-off guys. And Sonny Lappy's your morale guy.
Yeah, and the one thing about Massapequa, right, replacing Mike Giannotti, the goalie of the year last year, an All-American. He's tearing it up at Stevens, who are 14-2, saving it at a 62% clip. That's the biggest question mark coming into this year. Can this Chiefs team make another run? Got to get some saves, and so far Peter's been doing that.
It is Port Washington. It is Massapequa. We'll have our keys to the game in the opening face-off when we return here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape design for over 30 years. Give them a call today. See their number there, 516-250-8461.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age.
Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong,
And our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Welcome back to Burner Middle School. Dylan Butler, Brian Soper, our entire Varsity Media crew getting set for this Nassau Class A showdown between Port Washington and Massapequa. So we spoke with both head coaches before the start of this one, and here's what they identified as their three keys to this one.
Yeah, Coach Gill said we want to play together, communicate. This is a 70% assisted goal team in Massapequa. Got to call out cutters, got to get hands on, checks on the hands, right? Offensively, get the looks we work for. Got to finish, right? 2 goals, 1 goal a game is not going to cut it. You got to get to 10 or more if you're going to beat Massapequa, and they got to create turnovers in the ride. Look for some pressure. Massapequa, win the ground ball battle, defensive communication, offensively, share the ball. This is a deep team, a lot of mouths to feed, right? One of the hardest things to do is to get everyone to play together, but 16.1 goals a game, they're doing a pretty good job so far.
You mentioned the last meeting between these two schools. That was back at Stewart Stadium in the county final, a 9-7 win for Massapequa. They celebrated their 12th county title on that afternoon. It was such a great battle of goalies. I remember that, certainly Gennady and Einen battling, and we saw the younger Burns as well kind of grow up on the spot. A couple of assists in that one. Tyler, his brother, a big game as well. So this one has all the makings of what could be yet another close one between a couple of Conference A rivals.
And that was some game, that 15-14 game against Hills in the LIC. Tyler Burns had 4, Gennady had 17 saves. Looking to get back here as they start the chase for 13.
Yeah, it came down to a last-minute goal by the USA Lacrosse Magazine National Player of the Year, Anthony Rayo, who's right now on an all-freshman line at UNC with his buddy Gary Merrill. So here we go to the face-off X, and taking that opening face-off for Massapequa, it is Ryan Chabis, the junior. Good numbers on the year for him, and good numbers as well for Dylan Freeman. Part of a two-headed monster. Both of these guys are for their respective teams.
So far, when Massapequa's been able to get over 60% on the draws and dominate possession, they win. The 2 games, Garden City, that they did not win, right? They did not dominate possession, right? Mamaroneck as well.
So here we go, opening draw. Ball is still loose, and it will actually carry him out of bounds. So Massapequa will get the first possession.
First, one of the keys was the ride. Let's see what Coach Gill's dialed up.
That was part of the game where Gennady was so good in the cage was the clearing game, and Massapequa does get the clear, and now they can get their offense humming here a little bit.
Not easy to replace 473 saves in the cage. Two seniors fought it out this year in the preseason.
Here's Braden Tucker. Tucker, the low bouncer, goes wide. He's the lone returning starter on that first midfield line.
Yeah, that's Braden Tucker, SUNY Maritime commit, captain.
No backup, so now Port will look to try to get out.
His brother Logan, All-American at Adelphi, is coaching against him tonight.
That's right. So now if you're Mrs. Tucker, what's your right down the middle here? As Port gets it in, that's Owen Lang. Again, good to see him back. Was banged up this year. So he'll get the start. Lang rounds the cage. Reverses it, still has it, and the high shot is saved.
Yeah, good first stop. Always good to get that first one. Nice catch. Good defense harassing Brady Gilchrist, right? You see that length on display, size and strength. Caused a tough shot from a tough angle.
Konstantinakos this year, 43 saves, 46% save percentage. As there is the captain, Tyler Burns. Leaves it for Dylan Milio. As they try to get something here in the sub game, Milio. Will kind of keep that train going, right, from Massapequa to Adelphi.
Yeah, 6 current Adelphi guys went to Massapequa.
Milio hands off. There is Jake Burns.
Port defense is really tight.
That's another bouncer that also goes wide.
You see Burns and Tucker, both of them trying to use some picks, trying to get to the middle of the field, try to shoot on the run, get a goalie like Einen on the move.
That's Durnan. Again, gets the start on attack today. Milio with the goal.
This is great to see. Dylan Milio Jr., another guy going to Adelphi, his 11th goal on the year. He's had the biggest jump in his junior year, getting more time. No more for his left hand, fires that right-handed. Just an unbelievable kid. Plays every game for his sister Madison. Great for him to get the first one here. Having a tremendous junior year so far.
Yeah, Milio, his 11th of the year. He's quiet, but leads by example on the field.
Yeah, 6'2". Saw some time man up in transition last year, now getting a run with the first line and paying dividends.
Face-off win for the Chiefs. And Chabis still there, goes after the loose ball. And it will go to Port.
Yeah, that's Gavin Neville. We mentioned him earlier, ground ball machine. Nothing like having a defender that can just get you out.
And now Port looks to have their second settled offensive set now. Good look there at Dylan Buckley, the Cortland commit.
6 goals for him on the year. Does it all. You see him inverting now.
And he gets the short stick matchup.
That's Luke Gargiulo.
Yeah, QB1. Ball back out. It was goosed back in. Good GB picked up by Owen Meyer. The feed, the turnaround shot, and that is fired wide by Owen Lang.
Lang, you see him shoot with his left hand, can sling it. Pretty good dodger for the Vikings.
That is Einen. He too, the starting QB of the Port football team, as they'll just dump it in the corner with the shot clock down to 0.
Harry's role changing a little bit. Last year, more of an inside presence, really good crease guy. Asking him to dodge a little bit more this year. And so far, so good with 40 points.
And I think this has been part of the shot clock. It's not just about playing a quicker brand, but that end of shot clock and setting up the ride, right? That's something that you can do certainly with the shot clock, and we're seeing so many teams successfully utilize their ride out of it.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is force a shot that leads to transition late in the shot clock.
There is Burns. He's the guy who gets things started every day of practice. What a great leader he is. And so he's the music guy too. He came up here. I said, you got to delegate. You got to have a freshman. He's like, no, I got the music. I got the music for the boys. Here's Spallina to X.
This is a tough matchup for a shorty.
Wieserak, the feed. And the finish. How about it, 91, Rocco Spallina.
They've done this a few times this year in the last couple of years. You see Nolan Wieserak, honorable mention All-American, 6'3" with vision, gets it to the elite goal scorer, Rocco Spallina, committed to Penn. Is that his 40th goal this year for Rocco Spallina?
That is number 40, yes.
40, 52 last year. Had 7 goals versus Wantagh and Long Beach.
I think he'll also be at Howitt tomorrow, a Penn commit.
If you look at Nolan Wieserak, right, 81 goals, now 79 assists for his career, almost even, 50-50. That's the elite player he is, committed to Richmond.
His brother, Ryan, up at UMass.
Wies.
With a short stick now.
I heard. He's eating at Verona right now, some Italian food for the UMass Gorillas.
Yeah, that should be fun. That's tomorrow on the Varsity Media Sports Network, the Daler Classic, UMass and Penn. Good ball movement for the Chiefs. The feed inside. That's some really solid defending.
That's what Coach Gill was talking about. We got to slide, we got to communicate. Ball hits the turf, we got to get it out. Oren Shishoa, good start for him, a senior, really smart kid, heading to Cornell for academics. Like you said in the opening, he was so good last year down the stretch.
Yeah, he was really, really impressive. There's the skip, the step down, and the finish. And Port back in it. It's the second midfielder, Tommy Keneally, with the finish.
Looks like they caught him in a bit of a sub game. Assist by Luke Langaro, the junior, his 4th assist on the year. Caught Massapequa subbing, and out of the box comes Keneally, the sophomore, 2nd year on varsity. He's known to be able to shoot it, and we saw it there.
The lone sophomore on this Vikings team steps up with a big goal, his 3rd of the year.
2 goals last year as a freshman, gained some experience on a team that went to the county final.
That'll be a push, I thought it would be, and there it is. So Vikings will get the face-off win.
That was a really good stop by the Viking D, much needed goal. You know, if you're struggling a bit in the 6-on-6, you got to use the sub game, you got to use the ride game. We have a yard sale.
Yeah. Courtesy of 44, Brady Gilchrist.
100% right. They don't get enough credit defensively, the Chiefs. We see all the goals they score. But you got Justin Farrell, 2-time All-County. Gilchrist.
Timeout Massapequa. 4:34 left here in the first quarter. And Soap, what a tradition of lacrosse year after year for this Massapequa program.
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable program. I would say it really flipped in 1999, right, where Massapequa really started to become a dominant force, winning Long Island championships at 19 and 14, state titles the same year, but 21 All-Americans. The list is crazy. We've got a couple of them coaching on the other side with Gibbons. But when you name guys like Ryan Tierney, Craig Burge,
well, Nick Turn was
Nick
amazing
Turn,
for them.
Matt Zash. These are not just like one time. Kenny Brower, Robbie Enright.
Angelo Petrakis.
Yeah, Petrakis, unbelievable face-off dot. And it goes back to Coach Mollett, right, who I played against, whose grandson is tearing it up for Spalding. But it's guys like Radomski, guys like Mollett, who really kind of took, really got this thing going, and now it's in good hands with Coach Catalano.
Yeah, definitely is. And the latest All-American, that was last year with Michael Giannotti, the first for Massapequa since Kenny Brower back in 2019.
Giannotti was unbelievable, right? Had probably the greatest goalie run I've seen in a bunch of years. He had 24 saves this year against Tufts. He's doing the same thing for Stevens, who's given up 7.64 goals against. Brother Matthew, I believe, was also a goalie, and he's at Wingate.
Here is Wieserak. I put him into the midfield, you give him a different look, right? You run him out of the midfield, out of the box.
It's harder to get your matchups as a coach when you're not quite sure where he's going to be.
Spallina operates from X, tries to find Burns inside.
Sometimes you look at stats and you're like, 70% assisted, is that real? And then you start to watch them live and you just see how unselfish they are, looking for each other.
Spallina, the feed, goes in and out of the stick, and we go the other way with Panulo.
Great job by Jake Feinstein, senior. Played short stick D-mid last year, so he brings experience. That was a great check by him on the cut.
Now you have to get it in for Port. Here's Jimmy Gannon, the Merrimack commit. More of a D-midi a year ago, and now part of that first midfield, looking to score some goals.
Gannon's the assist man. He has 11 assists this year. Only 3 career goals, but going D1, it shows you how good he is in between the lines.
There's Einen. Flag is thrown. So we'll have a delayed penalty. I believe Pequa's got too many men on this side of the field. So free possession, and that shot off the mark by Longaro. So we'll have our first man up now. So it'll be 32nd man up for Port.
Got to find Harry Einen, leading goal scorer by a lot for this team. 43 Gs as a sophomore. He's the one guy I would not let him hurt me on the man up.
There he is operating from X.
Well, there he
Putted inside, unable to get possession. Now it's a scrum by the cage. Ball still on the carpet. And it will be a crease violation, and it'll be Massapequa ball.
Port had like a 1-3-2 look. They cut Harry Einen from X, was open, doesn't drop too many of those. Look for them to go back to that again if they get a man-up opportunity.
So now Tucker pumps the brakes. And the kick out.
Yeah, Pequa was one guy short. Good decision to pull it out, wait for 6-on-6.
Now Wieserak from X. He's adept at, well, that was a pass, but he's adept at the question mark dodge, that is for sure. As that shot by Tucker is wide.
He just puts so much pressure on your defense. 6'3", over 200 pounds. Nothing worse than a guy sitting in post up on GLE if you're a goaltender.
And for the Wieserak family, it's A10 all the way, right? You'll have that matchup for a few years now with Ryan and Nolan. As now Spallina with the defender hung up around the cage, and there's the save by Einen.
Great stop, went down, match stick on stick.
Einen fires it over the middle to Owen Meyer.
Einen's so good at clearing it as well.
We approach the final minute now of the first quarter. Loose ball, and it will go to the Chiefs.
That was Dom Antonelli, number 1, short stick D-mid.
The one more, and it's a goal. How about that? Wieserak to Burns.
Yeah, it starts with number 1, who gets it to 12, who gets it to 21. Little tic-tac-toe. That's A10, future A10, Richmond to UMass. What a great, unselfish one more pass for Wieserak. All right, and that's Burns' 15th goal on the year. He's been hot. 3 goals versus Garden City.
For Wieserak, his second assist of the game, 32nd of the season.
Antonelli, you know, he's a D-mid. He's played some close. He's played some long stick. Truly a Swiss Army knife. Great job by him creating a turnover with less than a minute to go.
That'll be a push against Pequa, so an opportunity here in the final 25 seconds for Port maybe to get one back. Jump shot over by Buckley.
Again, you have Antonelli on the ball. You see his athleticism. Matching stride by stride.
But this matchup, Farrell against Einen, and Einen! What a shot!
Yeah, mano a mano, one-on-one here. Just gets that stick upfield. That extra step is big. That torque whips it to the top corner. His 32nd goal on the year. Farrell does everything you want. He forces him upfield, but a better shot. If B-Lax is right, that's Harry Einen's 100th point of his career.
Listen, that is the Bible for us, so I'm going to go with it. So congratulations to the junior. Point number 100. What a moment it is, too, at the very end of the quarter to pull your team to within a goal.
Huge answer by Einen.
Well, Massapequa, they know how to share the ball, so.
Do not let them get in transition. Unselfish. Dunkaroo. Burns is a hooper as well. That was a slam dunk for him. Future Gorilla feeling good.
Second quarter coming up next on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Brennan O'Neill, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape design for over 30 years. Give them a call today. See their number there, 516-250-8461.
Help keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email Ben at varsitymedia.net.
For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
Back here on the Varsity Media Sports Network, getting set for quarter number 2. Tomorrow, all eyes, though, will be on Howitt Middle School as Penn and UMass will lock horns for the Daler Classic. 5:30 opening face-off for that one. How much fun soap is that going to be?
It's going to be unbelievable. 2 first-year coaches at their respective programs. A lot of alumni from Long Island. I don't know if the bars are going to be safe, but it's going to be great lacrosse on the field.
Well, there are plenty on Main Street to choose from, that is for sure, as the opening face-off of quarter number 2 goes to Port. But the possession does not.
We've seen a couple of miscues by both teams in the clearing game, some offsides, too many men.
And there is Milio. Like a few others, right? Soap, a little bit of a growth spurt in the summer. As there is Tucker pumping the brakes. Now look at this train coming out of the box.
Yeah, he's only a freshman.
Step down off the bar. Tucker rings it. The GB picked up, though, and a flag is thrown as well, as Wieserak picked up the GB.
Tucker has such a quick release.
So delayed penalty against Port.
Jake Burns, a freshman, has 12 goals, 5 assists, at 7-3 as an 8th grader. Played varsity hoop this year.
Trying to go high. That shot is saved. Shot by Jake Burns. Second save for Einen. And I believe the call there was, is that a 1-minute slash? So 10:43 on the clock, so this we'll count it down to 9:43. This offense 6-on-6 is prolific enough, right? Don't give them an extra man.
Yeah, pick your poison. You got Spallina, dynamic lefty shooter. Wieser can pick you apart. Burns as well. Burns is like that juice guy, right? When he scores a goal, it seems like 2 goals. So don't let him get a man-up goal.
Spallina back to Wieserak. Now you get some cutters.
Yeah, there's a seal.
And it's Burns! Baby Burns! The man-up goal for Massapequa.
That was beautiful. Watch on the backside. You see Burns. It's like a pick and slip. Unbelievable job. Spallina known for his shooting. You kind of rush out at him, and you find the 6'4" target inside. How about that extra fake? He knows about Einen in the goal. Gives him an extra little fake. Scores it. Like I said, he's the juice man. He brings it. Huge goal for Pequa.
His second of the game, 16th of the season. And for Rocco Spallina, assist number 16 as well. A man-up goal for the Chiefs.
It was a great set. They kind of lulled you to sleep, passing it back and forth. Then when their action, love that, pick and slip. That's high IQ lacrosse.
It's a nice GB there by Jake Burns. You said it, though. It was, listen, it was almost criminal what he was doing on the JV last year. Was it like 60 goals in 6 games? So it's like, listen, you want to play varsity, we'll prove it to us. And Man, did he ever. Look at this, step down. You mentioned the heat check for Tucker, and that one will go.
Yeah, I love how he just catches it. Right, he catches it, loads back, kind of crow hops into that. You give anyone that amount of space, let alone Logan Tucker, he's going to hammer that home. Great GB by Jake Burns, sets up a possession. Now you have a timeout, Port.
Yeah, for Tucker, goal number 9 of the year. Wieserak already 3 assists on Massapequa's first 5 goals in this one, as it is a 5-2 lead on this Port timeout. We take a look at the last few years for Port Washington. They have made the trip to Hofstra, right? That's always the goal for any team in Nassau County, but falling just short these last few years. A year ago, it was, you mentioned Massapequa 9-7 in the championship game. Even though you had a 4-12 year, you did make the semis. You lost to Farmingdale in 2024, and you lost to Farmingdale again in 2023. If we did like the last 4 years, they would be champions. What a year that was in 2022 for them. They got 13-4. They beat Syosset in an epic county final 9-8 before their season ended in the Long Island Championship to Northport 13-9.
Great program, championships under Kenny Case, 1990, 1995, and then in 2022. Yeah, Haberman was so good for that Loyola team in 22. And we had Luke Meyer, right? His brother Owen's a junior on this team. He was the MVP of that county championship and only scored 53 goals as a senior.
It's a Port program with 14 All-Americans. They too had one a year ago with Harry Behan, up now at Syracuse.
Yeah, Behan was the Howdy Myers Defenseman of the Year last year on a defense that gave up 5 goals a game.
Nearly a pole goal for Gilchrist.
Yeah, Casey Gilchrist, we've talked about great 28s the last few games that we've done. Add him to the list, 5-star, great stick.
How about that pickoff there by Einen? Farrell brings the boom. He's also going to go in. Let's see for how long. A man-up opportunity for Port. Let's hope these are rivals, right? And we expected the heat level to get pretty high in this one. So this will be a 1-minute man-up for Port. Their second man-up opportunity of the game.
That's Class A Nassau Lacrosse. Always been known to be a physical match. Teams that don't really care for each other too much. Built up rivalries. You're going to get some physical play.
So Farrell goes in for a minute. And that is your best defender as well if you're Massapequa.
Antonelli is the shorty.
Yeah, a guy who had the long pole previously.
Looks like Massapequa's rotating 5, which means they're not locking the crease.
Harry Einen up top. Hands off to Meyer. Skip to Einen. The feed inside. What a great look to Owen Lang.
Welcome back, Owen. Nice to see the junior who can sling it. Brother Brendan is at Muhlenberg. Look at that look. Little find the crease. Absolute left-handed rocket. Love that little touch pass to the middle. They caught him, right? The 5-man rotation, got a little spread. Lang hanging out in the middle. That's like a foul shot in basketball. Face it off.
So for Lang, goal number 1 of the year for the junior who's been out injured. Einen picks up his 10th assist. Man-up goal makes it a 2-goal game, and the face-off goes to the Vikings.
He didn't catch that one, but you have 2 man-ups for Port. Einen dropped that one. They've got some really good looks on their man-up.
There is Shishoa. Goes across the field. to Gannon. He'll roll it across as Port goes into their offense. Meyer with the feed.
Oh, what a check. Jake Burns locked it down on defense.
The hitch for Tyler Burns, and then smart from him. All right, let's get our guys on and let's get ourselves into something settled here. And maybe even get something in the sub game.
Jake Burns is one of the best 29s in the country. You see him in summer lacrosse, dominating his age group, playing a lot of midfield two-way. Who knows, right? He might be an attackman down the road once these guys graduate, but what a skill set. He's a guy you can kind of put anywhere, and he's going to be great, and you have him for 3.5 more years if you're the Massapequa staff.
There he is. Spins. Ooh, tried to find Milio, ball on the turf. And Tucker just seems to do everything for this team.
So scrappy.
Good knockdown in front. Shishoa.
Great play.
Yeah, it gets Einen, and now you go the other way.
Another goal for Port would be huge here. Thomas Panulo, the senior, Oniata really stepped up this year. You know, losing Behan, our Freeman of Gino.
How about this? Another yard sale. And Brady Gilchrist picking up the scraps.
You know, how cool is that, getting to play the last 2 years with your brother? Both of you have long sticks.
Well, it's a recurring theme, right, with this program. You mentioned a bunch of them, right, whether it's Wieserak or Burns.
Yeah, Durnins, Schneiders, Sinars. Oh, my. Tuckers.
Here's Gargiulo. And now Burns. Back to Luke. Gargiulo, the feed, the turn, the shot, and Einen, a terrific save.
Great stop, great offense. Not only do you get first assist, you get secondary assists, run that two-man action. Good stop by Max.
Durnin, Spalina!
You can kind of see it happening. They love to run these picks and rubs. It's almost like Steph Curry in basketball. You see that kind of two-man action. Why not, right? Run it for an elite scorer. We keep talking UMass. He's committed to Penn, right? We'll see them at Farmingdale. And Penn can really use a lefty sniper. And the Spalina name, 4-star player, has been really tearing it up.
Comes with a high lacrosse IQ. Dad Brian.
Yeah, only won 7 MLL titles. Hofstra Hall of Fame. Uncle Joe has some good kids as well. Jake, Brett.
And Joey, of course, now the all-time leading
Alexa.
scorer at Syracuse. Yard sale again, and the flag flies.
And they're related to the Kesslers, and Kessler's all-time leading scorer at Hofstra. It's in the blood.
So this would be a 1-minute slash. As both teams, I think they might have thought it was a timeout. They went to their respective benches. Here's another look. Jake Burns. A little how you doing?
Yeah, one-handed wrap.
So third man up for Port. They're 1 for 2 with the extra man.
Got to tighten up the inside if you're the Chiefs man down unit. Got Farrell back out there.
Yeah, you saw Dylan Buckley cutting through for Port. There's Ty Noga. Brother Nick, part of the team a year ago. Here's Einan. Stung it across, but it's picked off.
How about a first half for Brady Gilchrist? 2 yard sales. Picks up the loose change there. He ain't stopping.
And Einan denies the pole goal opportunity. What a juice goal that would have been. (6-3) the lead for Massapequa.
Like Coach Gill said, Einan's the backbone of the defense. When all breaks down, you got the junior heading to Ohio State to bail you out.
Yeah, the number, the magic number for Einan is 4, right? He scores 4 goals. Odds are pretty good. Port's coming away with a win. Here he comes, Einan. Still on it. What a stick check from behind. That is strength on strength. Now Einan tries to get the return. Step down. Ooh, that is eaten in front.
Yeah, he hustled back, Harry. 8-1 for his brother in front. Twin brother. I mean, Justin Farrell's a junior heading to Michigan, 2-time All-County. The next step is you start to talk about All-Americans, and there's only been 2 All-American defenders for Massapequa. Kenny Brower, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rob Enright, Defensive Player of the Year. One went to Hopkins, one went to Duke. That's who you're talking about in the conversations with a Justin Farrell.
Yeah, rarefied air. And the same is true for 12, Nolan Wieserak.
Yeah, Nolan Wieserak was an honorable mention All-American last year, and then those guys are usually in the discussion for All-Americans. So you start talking 2 times, right? That's Ryan Tierney, that's Craig Burge territory, Matty Zash. This kid is elite, one of the best juniors on Long Island.
And how about that matchup too? That was Richmond against UMass as Wieserak took Neville to the cage.
And he has a knack to just go off, right? 4-4 versus Wantaw, 6-5 versus Rosalind.
Face-off win for Port. And another flag is thrown.
Dad Eric played at Brown.
So free possession for Port. It's likely going to be another slashing penalty. That shot wide. Oh, Einan denied in front.
Huge stop. Konstantakos. No, you don't want to see Harry on the doorstep. Great stop. This Chiefs team, they just need him to be really solid and consistent in there because they can score the rock. They got great defenders in front of them. That time he stole one.
Yeah, you're not asking Konstantakos to do too much, right? You don't have to be Gennady, right?
Yeah.
Just be you, play solid in the cage, and everybody else will take care of their business. 4th man up of the first half for Port. They are 1 for 3.
I've had really good looks, though.
Good ball movement, turning and firing was Buckley.
Buckley looking for his 7th goal on the year. Really looking to find that inside against the man-down defense.
Einan, look at him, he's behind. Now they tried to find him, went off the turf. A little bit more of a yard sale.
Yeah, Ippolito, the junior, heading to Manhattan. 6-1, knocked that pass down. They're looking to skip it to Harry Einan.
Einan with it now. Gets the return pass. Einan off the bar. Pequa crowd thinking that they were the first to that ball. That went out.
Yeah, Harry Einan no more for his inside finishing, but we've seen him stretching it out so far for Port.
And if you are Dan Gale, I'd imagine maybe part of this halftime conversation, Soap, is too many unforced errors, right? The skip passes, they're a little bit too strong or too heavy, and it's resulted in some turnovers here.
Yeah, this is Ryan O'Connor, senior, SUNY Maritime. Maritime has a good one there. Mike Wygand was the Defensive Player of the Year, honorable mention All-American. Another Massapequa stud.
And there is Burns as we are approaching the final minute of the first half. You can't hold for the last. There's about 20-second difference between the shot and the game clock. Feed to X. Defender hung up. That one will hit the turf. Picked up by Jake Burns.
About 10 on the shot clock.
Burns goes high and Einen says no.
Yeah, those are the late in the shot clock ones that can lead to some runouts if you're not careful. Good job by Massapequa getting back in the hole.
And this tells you how valuable this possession is for Port as they utilize a timeout here with 15.9 remaining in the first half. We'll take a look at some of our upcoming sportscasts. You and I will have a busy few days together. A doubleheader of sorts, right? We'll first be back at Massapequa as Tommy Zumo and East Islip will come to town. That's a rescheduled game from earlier this year. And then it is Reeves Rock, Chaminade, and Manhasset at Manhasset, all in the memory of Sergeant James J. Regan, a Manhasset resident, played his high school lacrosse at Chaminade, then went to Duke before ultimately giving his life for his country.
Unbelievable atmosphere, great day, fundraising, just unbelievable. Shout out to Coach Zumo, lost his dad a couple days ago. We're thinking about you, man. Coach Zumo is one of the hardest working guys out there. Learned that from his pops, and we're thinking about you. And, you know, keep the Zumo thing rolling.
Yeah, well said. All right, so so ask you to put your coaching hat on here. Final 15.9. What do you think Port's going to look for here?
They're going to run some kind of two-man action, some kind of rub, try to get to the middle. They've done a good job trying to feed inside. So, you know, look to dodge right away here. You don't have much time. See if you can get something on the inside. Got to go.
Man, right now kind of just working it around the perimeter.
There's your pick.
Step down, sidearm shot will go for Owen Lang.
It's all about getting to the middle. They waited. They got it down to about 9 seconds. Kind of get to the middle, protects his stick. Welcome back, Owen Lang, his second goal. We see him just dodging hard, protects his stick. Great placed shot, much needed for Port. Great timeout by Coach Gill. Great execution by the Port offense.
And that, yeah, that's ideal, right? Coming out of the timeout to get that, to pull a goal back, to pull within 3. Looks like there was a flag there as well late. Looking at the wings here, I believe Pequa's got a guy in.
So it was definitely physical on the pick, right? There was like a cross check to the guy who was picking it.
So the first half ends, and Port Washington will have an opportunity with the man up to start the second half. But Soapy said it in the beginning, right? This is a team that's all about offense, but how about the D, man?
It's all about timing, timing, timing. Wait for it, bang! Right, the back check leaves a stick on the ground. Gilchrist has been physical. He's brought that physicality to the defense. 7-4 lead for the Chiefs.
Second half when we return to the Varsity Media Sports Network. Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape design for over 30 years. Give them a call today. See their number there, 516-250-8461. Back here at Burner Middle School, halftime of Port Washington and Massapequa, and a special guest here in the booth from UMass, the DC, former roommate of Brian Soper's, which I'm sure there's stories we won't be able to tell you here at halftime. But Chris Gabrielli, thanks so much for joining us. Listen, you're in town. The boys are in town. A huge one tomorrow against Penn. I mean, just for you, right? Like you still have your roots here. You still have, your mom's here. Like to be able to come back to the island and bring UMass and bring that lacrosse, I'd imagine super exciting for you.
It's special. It really, really is. Being here at a Class A game, Port versus Pequa brings back a lot of memories where me and Brian would battle against each other back in the day. I think like the older you get, the more you appreciate, where you're from, your roots. How much you value your experiences, how much those experiences have shaped us as men, as we get older, and we try to pass it on to the next generation. But yeah, it's special being back here for sure.
First season back at UMass, being on the sideline, and first year head coach with Coach Smith, and we attended Coach Canella's retirement ceremony. Just how is it being back at Boyden and the sidelines at Garber, right? How's that been?
I mean, it's great. If I was coaching someplace else, you kind of miss all the alumni stuff, and the way it all worked out with the timing of Coach Canella's retirement and me coming back on board and Kyle taking over, and that event that we held, at UMass, over 400 alumni. No better way to, send Coach out the way he deserved to be. But yeah, if I was coaching someplace else, I would have missed that because I would have been with my team elsewhere.
What do you think the percentage was of 400? How many Long Island guys are in that room?
Yeah, I mean that's our roots, right? A lot of Long Island, and I think we have about a dozen guys now on the team, and we're here to watch a few of our future guys right now.
So now tomorrow at Howard Middle School, this is such a cool event, the Daler Classic. It's been a few years. You were part of it when you were on the Bryant staff a couple of years ago, taking on Rutgers there. You see it, 5:30. It's so awesome because it's right in the heart of Farmingdale. It's right off of Main Street. It doesn't get better than that, right? Like your hometown, Division I lacrosse right in your hometown. That's so cool.
Yeah, we just came from practice, and I told our guys, how it did not look like this when I went to school.
We played on that side field, the grass, right?
With the gravel track around it. I graduated high school with Paul Defendini, who is now the superintendent, and he and so many others have done such an incredible job to advance the facilities, at Farmingdale, and I know Mike Hungerford and a lot of people, before they moved on, did a lot of hard work to establish and bring Division I lacrosse, to Farmingdale, to this great facility, and really excite the next generation of players.
Yeah, so this is tomorrow. We showed you the graphic there, and it's not just it's the end of a regular season, but it's also important for you guys. I mean, obviously your conference schedule's behind you, but you're still looking to get into the A10 tournament. They're looking to get into the Ivy League tournament. You want to play really good lacrosse going into the postseason, so it's not like it's an exhibition game. You guys are going at it.
No, we're both going at it for sure. Both teams are in unique circumstance, and obviously this was planned well in advance for both programs to have a great challenge going into hopefully going into conference tournament play. But both teams are in the top 25 RPI and having great years, and a lot of Long Island alum for both UPenn and UMass. So we're expecting a huge crowd, and it'll be a hard fought game. Yeah, like you said, I think both programs are kind of wait and see to see what happens if we're in the tournament, our respective conference tournaments. But you want to be playing your best lacrosse, at the end, and this is a great opportunity again for both programs to really sharpen their sword and hopefully play their best.
Well, if we learned anything from this game a couple of years ago, when UMass played in it, the tailgate is going to be off the hook. I don't know if they brought Mr. Note back out of retirement with the smoker,
He
but
was trying. I don't know if it's possible, but
I think he'll be around. Yep, I heard he's going to be around.
there you go. Yeah. So the brisket will be there, and that's going to be such a great environment. Certainly, if you don't know yet, again, 5:30. We'll put that back up there for you. 5:30 tomorrow. You can come to Howitt, or certainly you can watch us on the Varsity Media Network. Myself, Brian Soper, and the former head coach of UMass as well, part of the crew, Greg Canella.
in the booth.
Yeah, so I'll be surrounded by Long Island gorillas. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. But thanks so much for jumping on with us here at halftime, and we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Right.
Second half coming up on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Back here at Burner, you had a little reunion there at halftime. How cool was that with your boy Gabs? And we certainly look forward to that game tomorrow. But have another half here to play, and we take a look, Soap, at some of the first half stats from this one.
Big goal at the end for Port to cut it to a 3-goal lead. Massapequa dominating in shots, 4 saves for Max Einen. Face-offs, if you're Massapequa, I think you're okay with that. 6 out of 10 for Port, 4 out of 10. Possession has been pretty good so far for Massapequa. A lot of fouling by Massapequa, definitely something they probably talked about, but only 1 for 4 for Port. And Massapequa had that great pick and slip, Spalina to Burns to can a man-up goal.
When you look at some of the individual stats for Port Washington, or first for Pequa, you can see them on your screen. You've got 2 and 1 for Spalina, Burns with 2, Tucker, Milio, and Wieserak each with 1, but Wieserak also with 3 assists, so 1 and 3 on the game for him.
How about those jerseys? They look sharp, right? The names on the back look good under the lights.
On the other side for Port, Owen Lang with a couple of goals, Harry Einen with 1 and 1, Tommy Keneally, the lone sophomore on the team, with a goal, and then you've got an assist as well on that Keneally goal by Luke Longaro. So we will come out with Port Washington on the man up. And that is part of this, our conversation with Kevin Catalano. Said, listen, this is a rivalry game, and he said we've got to just play our game. We can't, he thought, maybe get sucked into something that Port was doing, but actually they were the aggressors. Pequa was in the first half, at least according to the officials, with how many times they were man down.
Listen, Massapequa has had tremendous success the last few years. The football team, 35-1 over the past 3 years, Long Island championships. They're going to bring physicality. You have a bunch of dual sport, lacrosse and football guys. They're going to look to set the tone. Some of the fouls you can deal with, like as a coach, you're like, all right, we're setting the tone. We're a physical team. But at 4, if you another 4 this half, you give 8 man-ups to a really good team. That's too many.
Yeah, right now it's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you always hear hockey coaches say, you know, we'll take the cross checks, we'll take the roughings. It's the trips that we don't want, the hookings, right? Those are the lazy penalties, if you will.
We still will have a face-off because there was no possession at the end of the second quarter.
Yeah, and Gilchrist to face off with the pole. Kind of hiked back. Look at this. He still gets it.
Yeah, he's an absolute warrior. That's a wand in his hand.
And with that, you win the face-off, and now you can kill this penalty down.
Listen, goalies are the coolest position, but a second is a lefty, long stick defender with a wand who can pick up GBs. They just look cooler.
That almost sounds like a soapbox episode. Power rankings of the coolest positions by the former goalie himself. See, I know I used to always get Pennell upset because I would go crazy when he was on with us about a pole goal and say how much I love them. And he's like, what are you talking about? I have to, us attackmen, we got to do all this work, and we got to worry about this. And we
got to eat check.
Yeah. Coming downhill. The feed and the finish inside. Tucker again.
Another assisted goal for the Chiefs. It starts with a sub out of the box. Milio comes out like a ball on fire. Tucker eats a check.
Yeah, so Milio give him the assist, his first of the game, 10th of the season. And Tucker, 10 now on the year.
Braden's third year on the varsity. You just see how athletic he is. Again, another patient shot. Waited a little bit, absorbed the check, and then shot it and caught Max Einen a little bit out of position.
Chabis, the clean win. Or as clean a win as you've had in this game.
Chabis has had some really big games, over 250 wins for his career. He had 26 face-off wins against Wantagh in a game where they scored 20.
They will work it to X. Here comes Spallina. Spallina goes low, and the finish. What a start to the third quarter for Rocco and the boys.
You don't have 112 career goals as a junior without your ability to be deceptive, to mix your levels. Goes high, he can go low. This one was through a lot of traffic. I think it was a screen that was set up, but the high IQ by Spallina to get to a good shooting spot with a good angle to beat a really good goalie.
Yeah, 2 goals inside the first 2 minutes of quarter number 3. That's a clean face-off win for Chabis. And now it feels like, Soap, the Chiefs are cooking a little bit here.
It started with that first possession. You know, it was, Casey Gilchrist kind of like looking like it was a face-off loss, turned it into a win, and gained an extra possession that led to a goal, and now it's 2 in a row.
Here is Gargiulo. has really worked himself back from that injury that he suffered during the football season. Low shot and wide by Burns. Joked with Tyler before the game. I said, so, you have plans tomorrow? He's like, oh, yeah. Got to see the boys. Top shelf filth. Wieserak.
He's so good on the GLE. Watch him kind of just shrug off that check, gets a shoulder dip, dips his stick, lights the top corner.
Get off of me.
That is how you play at the GLE. That's how you climb 6'3" and full of muscle.
2 and 3 now for the junior.
What did I say a couple weeks ago? One of the Division I guys, Richmond only recruits legit guys. And we've seen a lot of them lately. Marino, some other guys around the country. I'm not sure any of them are as good as Nolan Wieserak.
And there's Gilchrist again, right? Shot out of a cannon. Another face-off win for Massapequa.
Listen, if Casey gets to 6'1", 6'2", like his brother, look out.
Milio. The spin again. Oh, what a save by Einen.
His best of the day. That's what he does. Makes electric saves. You know,
Poor looking for the clear with Neville. Neville still going. Neville! Denied on the other side. Konstantinakos.
Got numbers.
Feels like an indoor game is broken out. Burns pumps the brakes.
Just move it so fast. Doesn't seem like they really care who scores it. 6-on-6, transition. Just a dangerous offensive team.
Another. As this time it's the younger Burns, Jake Burns.
Just a freshman, again, out of the box, in his right hand, stings the top corner. Everything is going right for Massapequa. Well-placed shot. One of the best freshmen in the country. Burns on display. Dad Timmy was a great player at Baldwin. Played lacrosse at Syracuse. Again, great genes.
And even though he's just a freshman, and we see it, and this probably speaks to what you just said too, he's a leader of this team as well, right? Like there's guys older than him that look up to him.
So confident. Such a confident lacrosse player. Plays up in the summer in elite travel ball. So you can tell he's not intimidated playing against older players.
Another face-off win, another chance for this offense that averages 16 goals a game to hum. The feed to the crease. We will get that push inside, so the possession stays with Massapequa. They'll reset. As it's Burns, Tyler Burns to put it back into play. Another feed and another save by Einen.
Yeah, just great action. They kind of, again, picked and slipped, and they're a difficult cover off ball, these Chiefs.
That was Brady Gilchrist who came flying down the field.
Yeah, the Gilchrist and the Burns are having some day so far under the lights here at Burner.
And half of the Tucker boys. On the coach, it's a little bit of a rough day right now. For Braden, he's having a day. There's Weezer. He could do so much. So he could hit the question mark. He could lower the shoulder. He could facilitate as there you see the feed. But again, Einen reading it well.
That's what makes them so hard, is that they can win one-on-one matchups, but there's so much action off ball, you're kind of scared to slide, and they take advantage.
And it feels like all of them could do multiple things to hurt you, right? Like dual-handed feeder, finisher, dodger, inside finisher.
Yeah, it was a nice play by Einen to pick that pass off, just showing how well-rounded a goaltender he is. I have my calendar marked for May 7th at Port. It's Wiesenfeld versus Einen, 2 goalies in Class A that are tearing it up.
Owen Lang, it's been a great return to the field for him, but he loses his stick. I feel like it's the 3rd check by Pequa.
What is that? You know, he tried for a goal. He has 3 de-stickings. Brady have himself a game.
And there's the leader of the bunch, the senior captain, Tyler Burns. He literally gets practice started.
Listen, Tyler, you know, you talk about like what's a UMass recruit look like? It's a guy who works hard. He's a multi-sport athlete. He brings the energy on a daily basis. Perfect spot for Tyler Burns.
And I got to imagine your boy Gabs to report back to Kyle Smith and the coaches is, yeah, we have a good one. He's still crushing it. Port Washington desperately needing a goal here. You thought the one they got back at the end of the first half was maybe a juice moment, a big opportunity for them, but it's been all Massapequa in this 3rd quarter. Buckley turns, and there is the save by Konstantinakos.
Stands, you know, a real nice save by him, off hip for the lefty. Nice rollback shot by Buckley. You just see the confidence of Konstantinakos getting better and better each game.
Timeout, Massapequa. In a 3rd quarter that has been dominated by the Chiefs. We'll take a look at some of those guys playing on the, or who will be playing on the next level for Massapequa. There are a lot of them. That is actually the 2nd listing. We'll go back to the lower numbers after this, but look at that.
Yeah, a lot of Delphi, Maritime. You know, there's a lot of interconnections here, right? Massapequa, Maritime, right? Tommy McCarville was there. He's there. He played for Port last year. Apat and Lang are at Muhlenberg, right? So we see some of these guys who competed against each other who will play together. Chase Torino, Oneonta, Maritime, Michigan, right? Kind of don't have to change your colors if you're Farrell. O'Connor's 6'6", D. Mitty. Gilchrist going to Muhlenberg. That's an absolute steal for the Mules. And again, that Delphi Chiefs train keeps rolling. And Rocco Spallina going Ivy to Penn Quakers.
He'll play for Taylor Ray there.
He was impressive in the interview, right? I just love what he said. He goes, "We want to be a pain from end line to end line."
And I love the next part of that call because your former head coach and the longtime UMass coach, Greg Cannella, said, well, you were
a
pain to deal with.
Did not like to play against you at St. Joe's and bringing that brand of lacrosse to the Ivy.
And not a bad situation for Ray, right? You don't even have to move, right? You just you stay at the same address and you just go from St. Joe's to Penn.
Yeah, my buddy Justin O'Connell, we joke, but he played at Penn, and he's like, it's the Ivy League is the SEC lacrosse.
Well, that's a guy who's going to get used to the SEC of lacrosse. Rocco Spallina, his 4th of the game.
you just can't stop. You come in, you're like, listen, we're not going to let him score, right? You might want to question him, saying he's not the biggest cat in the world, but that stick is lethal.
He doesn't need any space.
He protects it. Two-hand cradle, tough left-handed. Has a little Joey in that toughness at the right spots. Just made up of all the right things. That's a lot of practice in the yard and being comfortable playing in the tough areas.
43 goals on the year now for him.
43, that's a big number for UMass. Shout out to all the boys.
And the guys on this side, man, they are not ready to give things up, right? Like, we're no free passes on this side. Timeout for Port. Take a look at some of the Port guys and where they'll go on and play college lacrosse.
Yeah, Coach Gabbs was here scouting out the future UMass guys. Gavin Neville, we see Cortland. Merrimack, Salva had a great Long Island commit who's had a great season as a freshman there. Ohio State, they got Big Ten tournament action coming up. Playing Michigan, Panulo at Oneonta. Shout out to my buddy Matty Puerta. Might be still the all-time leading scorer for the Red Dragons up there. Just a great list of young men playing at great places. Where will Harry Einen go? That's the question, right? He's 100 points on Long Island. I need to see an Instagram message in the next couple of days of someone scooping up the QB and all-county attackman.
Maybe he'll join one of these guys here. Look at this next level bunch for Port Washington.
Haberman was shot out of a cannon. I played against him up at Caniac. He lit me up, right? He is unbelievable. Matty Freeman at Boston U. Harry Behan was a beast here at Port. He's at Cuse. All-American last year. Howdy Myers, Defenseman of the Year. Luke Meyer, like I said, he put on a show back at the last championship for Port. And Gavin Jacobson at Binghamton, next level all day. The Vikings putting guys in the right spots.
So real quick, what are you more a fan of in these photos? The suit look, or we got the warm-ups, or with the jerseys going?
I'm a jersey guy.
There you go.
Yeah, no, shirt and tie. No thanks.
We will restart here. Port trying to get themselves back into this.
One 4 look.
We'll try to dodge there with Longaro. Now it's Meyer.
Massapequa was so big defensively. Yeah, Farrell's just a monster in that 5-and-5 area.
And the help comes, and it's almost unfair.
I just love the way that kid plays angles. I love he's not a guy who takes a ton of risks. He is a goalie's dream.
Now Pequa again.
And hats off to guys like Dom Antonelli, stepping up. Joe Brooks has played a lot of D-mid. Ryan McLaughlin, LaRosa. You forget, Pettis was so good for them last year, offensively and defensively. Hard guy to replace, but it's been pretty seamless for this Chiefs squad.
You mentioned there momentarily Brooks, and how cool is that, right? A guy who played on the younger levels. Another goal for the Chiefs. Another one for number 1-2, Nolan Wieserak. Hat trick for him.
Just a smart play. He catches it, continues. Take a guess. Is he righty, lefty? It doesn't matter, but watch. That's such an underrated skill for an attackman, to catch it on the move. You're not flat-footed. You don't have to make a move. You catch it, continue the dodge, and you dunk it. High-level IQ for the honorable mention All-American.
But yeah, for Brooks, such a high-level football player, an even better wrestler, right? A county champion in wrestling. He wants to go on and wrestle in college, but now senior year, let me get back out there as a short stick D midi. How about that? Having a wrestler, a county championship wrestler, hounding you as a short stick D midi.
Yeah, another takeaway by Gilchrist in the middle of the field. Gilchrist family responsible for at least 6 caused turnovers tonight.
And how many yard sales?
Put the signs up.
I mean, somewhat lost in this right now is just how good, that's a great check to force a turnover, how good Max Einen has been in this. Like, you'll look at the box score, or if you go to BLAX later and you're like, oh, 13-4, man, what a domination. And listen, yes, the offense has been awesome, but so has Einen.
Yeah, I think in Nassau County, you know, if we include Chaminade, right, you have 3 of the best goalies in the country who are playing great. You have, you know, Walsh, you have Einen, you got Wiesenfeld's been very, very good.
Trying to sting it far post was Spalina.
You know, he's going to be in the conversation for All-American, Einen. And if you can do it back-to-back, you're talking rarefied air. That's Matt DeLuca, that's Danny Loftus, that's Ryan Feit, Marcus, Quint Kesenick, and Adam Gittleman.
As it's Jake Burns gets his second.
Little Sally feeling good if you're the Chiefs. You know, stop if you've seen that before. That's not a replay. That actually happened again. This time he switches it back to his natural left hand, creates a better angle, snipes the corner. Just when you're a Nassau County coach, you're like, oh, one Burns is graduating. Well, this guy's still there, and he's going to wreak havoc for the next 3.5.
Yeah, that's what his head coach, Kevin Catalano, told us, right? It's going to be nice to have him for another 3 years after this year. (14-4) face-off win, rinse and repeat for the Chiefs.
This Massapequa team is just so deep and still so young. 81% of their scoring coming into this game and goals is from underclassmen.
That's the other thing. We thought they were young last year, and they were, but that's a lot of sophomores, right, last year. Now there are a lot of juniors.
And what was that? That game was like a turning point with that big comeback at Hofstra against Syosset where they kind of got to the county final. That was kind of like, yeah, we may be young, but we've arrived, and you're going to have to really think about us the next 2 years.
Yeah, that was a 9-7 win, as that one is deflected from Massapequa. Final 4 seconds. They'll send it up in the air. What a quarter for Massapequa. They shut out Port in that one. They've got a 10-goal lead going into the 4th. And how about it for Jake?
Righty, lefty, doesn't matter. Stings the corner. Everything going the Chiefs' way. Feeling confident. Hitting the cellies.
4th quarter coming up next on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
Design, build, and maintain your dream home. J&R Custom Landscaping has been proudly offering landscape design for over 30 years. Give them a call today. See their number there, 516-250-8461.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age.
Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong,
And our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising.
Back here for the start of the fourth quarter. Dylan Butler, Brian Soper, our entire Varsity Media crew here at Burner Middle School. It was a third quarter to remember for these Chiefs. It was a 2-goal game at halftime.
There he is.
Now it's 10 and maybe more. I took a deflection. It'll stay with Massapequa. You know, it's funny in the hockey playoffs, you talk about like 3 stars of the game, right? Like, good luck picking them out here today for Massapequa. We had that ad before we started J&R Landscaping. Well, this Massapequa offense, man, they well manicured, this group.
Yeah, then you roll out a guy like Gargiulo. You know, he's gonna play lacrosse at Binghamton. Don Schneider Award winner. You know, replacing Joey Diesso.
And he kind of has a little bit of that Diesso role here. Maybe Diesso had a little bit of a bigger role last year for this Massapequa team. But you consider the fact, right? You go and win a county championship, and you lose Gennady, an All-American goalie, who's at Stevens. Matty Pettis, a terrific two-way midfielder at Albany. Diesso now at Adelphi, but so many of the other parts, the majority of the rest of the parts back.
Listen, Gennady was a huge part of that run.
That was the only question mark, I think, coming in, right? So, like, you have your entire starting attack back. You've got most of your D. You've got a lot of second-line midfielders who are going to make the move to the first line, but who's in goal, right? And it was a competition at the start of the year as well. Declan was part of that competition before the start of the year. Declan Stanton, the senior, but ultimately he went to Peter Konstantinakos.
They're so good at the other areas, right, offensively, you know, but, you know, the only thing that could really, you know, you're thinking Long Island championships, you're thinking state title runs, you know, being solid up the middle is the key to this team, because if they can dominate possession in a game, more than likely they're going to fill up the net.
And you look at the rest of Class A in Nassau, I mean, you've got some tough teams there as well, including neighboring Farmingdale, right, looking much better this year. Syosset has had a great start of the season. BTB opportunity goes wide, and
I think that's why this game is so important to both teams.
Yeah.
But Massapequa is sending a statement is that when you play this power league, this is the first time we're seeing these A teams play each other. And it's about halfway through the year. And I think it's about, hey, marking your territory, planting your flag, and saying, yeah, like, we're the 1 seed for a reason.
yeah, those other games like Pequot Garden City or Manhasset against those are cool for us, right? Like, and for the lacrosse public, but these are the games that really matter for these programs. Syosset and Farmingdale, right? Or that game's happening right now. Short trip away at Farmingdale.
10-9 win for Syosset.
Oh, look at that.
Just hit the BLAX 8 website.
Little hidden ball trick. No hiding that shot from Wieserak.
Yeah, 4 goals from Brody Waxer.
And you've got some alphas as well, right, in those big 4. A penalty is up for Port. You got Einen here, and
Yeah, Galgano, another UMass commit playing for Farmingdale. He scored a pole goal. 5-2 second half, led Syosset to the win.
But in Class A, I would, and I'm not really going out on a limb here, right? In terms of offensive production, there is no team like these Chiefs.
I think the most surprising team has been Syosset. They've, beefed up their, riding game. They're really strong in the net. They lost the faceoff guy, but Acevedo stepped up. 9-1 for Syosset Braves.
Yeah, the only loss was the Calabria Bowl, right, where John lost to his son in Sachem North.
Yeah, so preseason, Pequa was the 1, Port was the 2, Syosset was the 3, and the Dalers were at 4.
Farrell tried to go high, a little bit too high.
They're playing each other, right? Michigan, Ohio State, right? Tried to sneak one in.
We show those next level guys, and when we get an opportunity during a stoppage, we'll show the Pequa guys. But that's another cool thing, though, about like when you have an area that's such a hotbed like Long Island, you follow those guys, right? Like you'll go and you'll tune into the ACC network or the Big Ten or ESPN. You're like, yeah, those are our guys. Oh, look at that move! Are you serious, Tucker?
Yeah, Braden Tucker, he's like a bar of soap, right? He's real slippery.
Look at this.
Yep, whoop, right? Just unbelievable move. No slide.
I'm going this way. No, forget it.
That's a crazy change of direction. Little dip of the head. Snipes the far corner.
Hat trick for Tucker.
Yeah, Maritime's getting a couple really good players. Coach Manjaris, right? Steve Darginio, he's a former East Meadow coach, has coached on Long Island. He knows where to get elite talent. The island.
You've got 4 for Spallina, 3 for Tucker and Wieserak, 2 for both Burns boys.
It's crazy, right? Braden Tucker, right? He comes in the game with 8. If he's on another team where he's the #1 guy, he might have 30 goals. He's that elite of an athlete. But just kind of fits the role. He's going to draw a ton of short sticks, and good luck.
One of the storylines a little bit coming in, right? This is a battle of last year's county finalists. Maybe this Port team looking for a little revenge on the road. But it has the bigger story that has emerged has been the statement that Massapequa is making here. And that statement is the road will go through these Chiefs, says Spallina. Make it 5.
Yeah, you scout him as a lefty. He says, I got a right hand too. Stings it. Got the quicks, right? That's the part of his game that has continually to get better. Will continue to get better.
And you think about it for him, right? Like, look, you've got the name and now you've got the number, right? That's a bullseye, right? Like, and we've seen it for so many years, even in his younger days at Mount Sinai with his cousin Joey, right? Like, people want to hate, they want to get on you. It's the name, but like, it's the similarities. It's the work ethic, right? It's the lacrosse IQ and that determination, and Rocco's got that just like Joey does.
Just continues to score, right? This is a game that you need to score goals, and that's what he does. Whether it's the summer here, he was the MVP at the NLF, right? He's done it everywhere, and I have not seen him this year from last year. Super impressed at how he's elevated his game.
Yeah, feels a lot more confident. He's one of those guys, it's like he got the commitment. He's like, all right, I don't have to worry about that. It's out of the way. I can play free as a junior. As a 10th grader, had a lot on his shoulders, right? And maybe sometimes that affected him, but you could see, and really the collection. We mentioned all those guys who are committed. That's a whole lot of guys who don't have to worry about where they're going to play next year, including Yeah, we just talked about him a lot. Rocco, give him 6 goals now.
Yeah, this is a guy who has 7 versus Wantagh, 7 against Long Beach. Another, I'm not sure if we're going to give an assist there, maybe, right? But kind of runs through the check. Watch the subtleness to protect that stick. That's just a snappy release as a goalie. Left-handed releases like that are nightmarish.
A goalie change for Port as Einen will leave the cage. It looks like it's Noah Whitlock, the junior, who is in the cage now for the Vikings. Massapequa now soap over their season average for goals scored.
Not sure I had that. I see the 16. I'm like, it's going to be a closer game. They've played 1 or 2 goal games. I didn't see 17 goals by Massapequa, but seeing them in person, real deal, elite shooters, score 17 on a goalie like Einen is a day's work.
We'll show you their next level players now, and there he is, Ryan, with the suit look. He's right now. What's the meal that he's having right now, you think?
Yeah, they're having some parm and some pasta in Farmingdale. Weezerek, right, playing shorty this year. Long pole was long stick midi of the year last year at Massapequa. Pettis, Albany, right, a couple of Class A guys up there at Albany. O'Keefe, right? Fiola at Quinnipiac. Radomski was like leading scorer in the country till he got hurt. And what about Anthony Malika? What a great season for him. Big kid, really stepping up for Hofstra, scoring goals. Just an unbelievable next level for Massapequa.
Yeah, we certainly hope Pat Radomski, we hope for him a speedy recovery. As you said, right, was shot out of a cannon.
Who's the other Albany guy? Was that Maida from Farmingdale? He's there. So we've had Albany well represented in Nassau Class A the last few years.
Got Scotty Marr up there. Always one of those sneaky programs, right? The Great Danes.
Yeah, they got one of the best players in the country, Silas Richmond. You name guys like Thompson's and Connor Fields. Just want to be in the locker room one time when they play alive, right, as the group, and feel the Pearl Jam through the veins.
Look at the stick check. That Torino.
Yeah, Chase Torino heading to Oneonta. Has the ability to take it away. We saw it there. Real coachable kid, wide receiver, cornerback. Was working towards some Eagle Scout stuff. Jason LaRosa out there, the junior.
You can spread the love a little bit now.
66, there's Joey Brooks.
Good takeaway, and no pole goal that side either.
Just a dominant second half from Massapequa, limiting the possessions for Port. Pitching a shutout right now. '23's Owen Levy, sophomore. Played a little bit as a freshman. He also has some great genes. The Levy brothers were great. Jason, Kevin at Delaware.
His uncle was the Port coach last year, Glenn. It'll be Pequa ball. Let's see if we have an opportunity, unless they score something quick here, to maybe pop up that upcoming schedule for for the Chiefs. I'll have a good chance here because there'll be a flag down. As we are inside now the final minute of the fourth quarter. The duck under, hard hit there as well. Chasing after it is Whitlock.
Yeah, good slide there. That was Michael Vogel, the midi junior. Slide to collide.
And here's what they have coming up. Massapequa will be on the air, you and I, at noon on Saturday against EI. And then you've got Oceanside, Plain Edge, and a game you circle on your calendar, whatever the sport may be, right? Massapequa Farmingdale will have that one for you as well on May 7th. So no reason here to kind of do anything, right? If you're Massapequa, you just play catch like you're in the backyard, and you'll improve to 8-2 on the season. Really, in all phases. So, super impressive performance by Massapequa.
Yeah, tonight's the NFL draft, right? Who you drafted on Pequa? The whole team, the whole team, Dill?
Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Spalina, Weezerak, Burns brothers, Gilchrist brothers.
I trade up to get a few more picks so I can take as many as I possibly can. As this one will go final. What a performance. What a second half for Massapequa. This was a close one in the first half, but it was all Chiefs in the second half as Massapequa wins this one 17-4. The Chiefs improved to 8-2 on the year. For Port, their third loss in their last 4 games. You scored 1 goal in one and 2 in the next. You get 4 today, but still, you had some looks, but I think you have to give the credit. And I think when they watch this film, I think the credit's going to go to the Massapequa defense.
Statement game if you're Massapequa. Exactly the type of, mentality you wanted to show. Assert your dominance. But Port, back to the drawing board. Those 4 teams are going to be seeded 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a good chance you're going to see the guys in gray and blue and gold again this year. So keep practicing, keep getting better, and you got the goalie and you got the team to do it. Just didn't go your way tonight.
Well, Port, they got off the bus looking for some revenge here against Massapequa for that loss last year. But these Chiefs, so good at sharing the ball. Tyler Burns with a finish. Yard sale. And then again.
It's just not fair. Rocco with that left hand.
Weezerak lowers the shoulder and the boom. The celebration was on and continued throughout the night. 17-4, the win for Massapequa. For our entire Varsity Media crew, our executive producer, Ben Turchin, our technical director, Chris Sweeney, bringing you all those moving images, Kevin Catalanato, Peyton Brophy, for my broadcast partner, Brian Soper, Dylan Butler, thanking you for joining us from Berner Middle School. We look forward to seeing you next time right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.